Hi, it's Michael Caputo. Thanks for tuning in to Still Standing. If you check out the podcast, stillstandingpodcast.com, at our website, we've got audio podcasts. We got these videos up there. Also, some blog posts. So check out stillstandingpodcast.com. I was at a breakfast this morning with the general consultant for local congressional candidate that was declared the winner today. And we were talking about whether or not we think the president will run for re-election, because here we are, as the Democrats are preparing to take control of the House of Representatives, we see dozens of federal investigations that the president is going to have to endure, even one of Ivanka because of her emails, and it's just going to get worse and worse. I mean, obviously he can work with the Senate, and his administration can do a lot without the support or even the involvement of the House of Representatives, but he's already pretty mad. You can tell by the way he's tweeting and talking and some of the leaks that are coming out of the White House, which is, of course, leaking again. Damn it. But I don't think it's going to be any fun for the president. And I got to tell you, when I first started working with the president on his political affairs in 2013, he always talked to me about how he wanted, we were talking about him running for governor of New York, and it was something he was flirting with, but I don't think his heart was ever really in it. He kept talking about wanting to do the big thing, the presidential run. And one of the times we were discussing this, he told me that he would run and fix things, and then after one term, put his vice president out in front of as the candidate and walk away. I remember that he said that more than once to me, that he would be in office for one term and then not run for a second term. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe that today. I know that it certainly sounds like the president wants to run for a second term. He's said it himself. But I could also see the president, just saying that for effect. Just so people believe that they're stuck with him for 8 years. All these people who hate Donald Trump and hate the things that he's achieving, just to rub it in their faces that they're with him for 8 years. I'll never forget Inauguration Day in January 20th, 2017. I was having breakfast with Paul Manafort. God bless him. The hell he's gone through. But Paul and I and some other people sat down for breakfast, and we were talking about the inauguration and what the president was going to do. And I said, of course, he's only going to stay for one term. And Paul stopped, and he put down his fork, and he said, "Michael, what are you talking about?" And I said, well, the president told me in 2013 and again in 2014 a couple of times that he was only going to stick around for one term when he ran for president if he won. He had no intention to run for a second term. And Paul said to me, he said, "Michael, that information is no longer operative." I laughed. Of course, that sounds pretty crazy, but that information is no longer operative. I wonder, do you think it's operative? Because look at what the president has done. If you look at the big four, my friend and I over breakfast today, we're talking about it. You've got immigration, you've got trade, you've got more generally the economy and the tax cut, which was historic by any stretch of the imagination, and you've got the judiciary, judges. Those four things are tremendous accomplishments. Now, if he manages to achieve massive immigration reform, he's able to secure our borders and maybe even get a wall on our southern border, which is so porous, with the drugs that are the kids are using right here in the village of East Aurora, the opioids and the fentanyl coming in from China. I mean, if he's able to secure our borders, it'll be a fundamental, amazing accomplishment that no other president has been able to do. No other president had the balls to do it. So, and again, on top of immigration, trade. I remember the president was always talking about immigration back in 2013, 2014 when I spoke to him. But if you look at his interviews, going back as far as the 90s, he was talking about trade as well. And if he's able to gain fair trade, not just free trade, but fair trade with some of these, countries who have taken advantage of us, like China and the European nations who had, unfair trade balance with us, if he's able to actually fix our trade situation so that we have fair trade with other nations, that'll be a fundamental improvement for every American. And then, of course, the economy. The tax cuts were historic. There are some issues with it. We need to focus even more on the middle class. But look at the jobs, the jobs available, not just the job growth. The unemployment rate is down, especially for African Americans and Latinos, lower than it's ever been before. Joblessness and the economy, the optimism of the American people when it comes to the economy. If he's able to continue this, economic growth, the GDP growth, if he actually gets it over 4%, which we all thought was absolutely impossible. Barack Obama said GDP growth, averaging over 3% across a year was a thing of the past. The president's actually eyeing, 4% growth. I don't know if that's ever going to be sustainable, but imagine if he puts together the economy that he's got right now, improves it even more, and manages to sustain it across one presidency, one term, that'll be remarkable. And of course, the judiciary. If he is able to, already he's changed the Supreme Court for a generation, maybe more, with the appointment of 2 conservative justices. What if he gets another one, a third one, in one term? He'll replace, let's say it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, with another conservative. He has changed the judiciary and turned it into toward a conservative side for more than a generation. And of course, the remarkable number of federal judges that he's put in just in the first 2 years of his first administration. It's remarkable. Even if he could never get another judge in place, he's already done more than most presidents have. So imagine that. 2 years of fighting the House of Representatives, dozens and dozens of investigations, one after the other. They're probably going to dig into his own personal finances. They're probably going to go after his tax returns. They're clearly going after Ivanka. Imagine what they're going to do to Jared. One after the other, these Democrats are going to go and try and investigate every single aspect of this administration. The whole Russia collusion delusion is going to be reopened. I'm actually probably going to have to participate in that. Again, another 30, 40 grand in legal expenses. After all that frustration, all these Democrat congressmen and women who are, Maxine Waters in financial services, Jerry Nadler, oh my God, in the judiciary. These investigations are the president's going to be completely frustrated. After all that for 2 years, do you think the president's going to run for re-election? I got to tell you, I'm not certain he will. And if he's already taken care of, for example, trade, immigration, the economy, and the judiciary, he's done all these remarkable things in 4 very big issues, he'll have been the most remarkably successful conservative president in modern times. Why wouldn't he just pull a Costanza, like, I'm out, I'm gone, I'm going to leave on a high note, and turn it over to Mike Pence or somebody else to take it forward from there? Think about that. That's what he told me in 2013 and 2014. Maybe he's changed his mind. People I know say he has changed his mind. And if you're going to believe what he says, it looks like he has changed his mind. But after 2 years of getting beaten down by the Democratic House and achievements in those big 4 issues, why wouldn't he just call it quits and go back to living the life of a billionaire, married to Aphrodite, living in the penthouse of Trump Tower, with, frankly, his airplane's better than Air Force One. It's not like he'd be missing any of the lifestyle. His lifestyle will be better and great again. Amazing. I don't know. What do you think? You think the president's going to run for re-election? I'm not so sure. I'm Michael Caputo. This is Still Standing. Remember to check out stillstandingpodcast.com for more video, some audio, and some blog posts. Thanks for taking the time.